Greetings, everybody. I hope that you guys are good today. So today we're just gonna be having a look at the Crash Boom Index. That is the Crash Boom 1000 Index. And yeah, let us get straight into the chart. Um, so you guys know by now that we always start off our analysis from the biggest time frame, which is the monthly time frame, right? So as you guys can see, I have it open, the monthly time frame that is, and the first thing that I can already see is that, let me just make it slightly bigger. The first thing that I can already see is that on this monthly chart we have what seems to be a triangle in that region, right? And we can see that price is slowly but surely getting to this zone over here, and that tells us that we will indeed see a breakout at some point, either to the top side or to the bottom side, right? So we'll see how it unfolds over the next couple of weeks and even months, right? So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? We also have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So what it tells us is that where that upper wick ends is a whole lot of liquidity, right? And it also tells us that as much as we have this triangle over here, right, at this point in time, it would make sense actually for price to break out to the upside, actually, to grab that liquidity, right? And what may actually happen is that the market may push to the upside to grab that liquidity, also forming a very nice M structure, and then from there possibly pushing down to at least this level over here, which is a very strong level of support, as you guys can see, right? I hope that my drawing makes sense. Let me just redraw it again. So we have that triangle in this manner, right? And then we have this candlestick over here, which is carrying all of that liquidity at that level. And I'm saying that we already have the first leg of that M structure, and price may break out to the top side to the zone where we have that liquidity and possibly push down to here, this level over here, right? To give us that nice M structure. That's what I would love to see happen. However, as we all know by now, the market doesn't always go as we would like it to go, but that's not a problem. We just need to make sure that we react as and when price makes its movement, right? Yeah, so that is the monthly chart. I don't see anything further at this point in time, except that we also have some liquidity candlesticks at the bottom, like this one over here, right? We also have another one over here. So there's scope as well for price to move down to grab all of those liquidity levels, as those levels actually represent money for the market, right? So from here, I'm just going to head down to the weekly chart. Just bear with me. Here we are on the weekly chart. Let's see. So what do we see on the weekly chart? So on the monthly chart, we spoke about this triangle over here, right? In fact, let me just add an actual triangle so that we don't forget about it. Just bear with me. We have something like this. Let's see. There we go. Just bear with me. Yeah, so there goes our triangle, more or less, right? So here we are on the weekly chart. What else do we see on this chart that we should be paying close attention to? So as much as I mentioned let's see, as much as I mentioned the liquidity that's in this level, or at that level rather, that needs to be grabbed by the market, and I also mentioned the 2 points at the bottom, which are also carrying all that liquidity. Can you also see that at this point here we have another liquidity candlestick, and the market also has to grab that liquidity candlestick at some point or another, right? Also, we have within this triangle a very nice M structure over here, with the neckline being in that region. However, the neckline is yet to be broken, right? And should this neckline be broken, what I would love to see happen next is for price to move back up to the neckline to retest it, and then from there possibly push further down, right? But just also bear in mind that we also have an opposing W structure in this region, with the neckline being in more or less the same area, right? So should we sell at this point, our first take profit should be somewhere around this point over here, because of this W structure, which has a very strong level of support at this point, and that support level is also the neckline of that W structure, right? Yeah, so at this point we're looking at all the possibilities and seeing what could possibly happen in the future, and we just need to ensure that in the back of our minds we have all of these possibilities sitting there, right? So that as the market moves we can also react based on what it does, right? Yeah, so what else do we see on this chart? I'm not going to add a neckline actually to this M structure over here, because price has not yet broken the neckline to the bottom. Should it do so, that's when we will consider this neckline, right? As I said, that the anticipation, once the neckline has been broken to the bottom, is for price to move back up to retest this level and then push down to at least this level over here, where we have that neckline of that W structure, right? So that is it, guys, as far as this weekly chart is concerned. But what I'm gonna do is actually add the neckline of that huge W structure, because it's a very important level. Just bear with me. Let's see. And just also bear in mind that necklines are an area and not an actual line, right? So there we go. There we go. There we go. So what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying very close attention to? I don't see much at this point, so what I'm gonna do is head down to the daily chart. Okay, so here we are on the daily chart. Let's see. I'm just gonna make it slightly bigger so we can see what it is that we're dealing with exactly. All right, so there goes the daily chart. So what do we see on the daily chart? So as much as on the weekly chart I spoke about how we have a very nice M structure in this region, right? As much as we have that M structure, just bear in mind that we also have in this region a very nice W structure over here, right? With this level being the neckline of that W structure, right? However, as with the M structure that I spoke about, the neckline of this W structure has not yet been broken, and should price break this neckline, what we would do is wait for price to come back to the neckline to retest it, and we would look for further buying opportunities at this level, right? That is, if price breaks the neckline to the top side and then comes back to the neckline to retest it, and yeah, we would look for buying opportunities at this point, hopefully to around this level or so, or at least this level, because it's the first significant take profit zone, right? Yeah, so what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? We also had in this region a very nice M structure with the neckline being there. Price broke the neckline to the bottom, then went up again to retest it, and we would have looked for selling opportunities at this point, and we saw price moving to the downside from there, right? And as much as I'm saying that we have a very nice W structure there, just bear in mind that this area over here is moving sideways, or we have price moving sideways in this area over here, right? And as much as I'm saying that we have a very nice W structure, price may actually break out to the bottom from here, right? At any point in time, and that is because we have that triangle that I spoke about, right? Yeah, so from here I'm just going to move down to the H4 chart. Just bear with me. Let's see. My chart is just taking long to load. Just bear with me. Come on, chart, open up. There we go. All right. So yeah, so here we are now on the H4 chart. I'm just going to make it slightly bigger. So what do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? As I said, on the daily chart, price in this region seems to be moving sideways. And I can see a whole lot of W structures now that we are on the smaller time frame. Over here we had a W structure, right, with the neckline being over here. Price came back to retest that neckline. However, the neckline was not able to hold, and we saw price moving further down, right? Price moved further down to create a head and shoulders pattern, I believe, in this zone. However, it never really got the momentum to move further up or break the neckline, right? Instead, it went further down again. It went further down again to this region, right? And yeah, from this region, it had, or rather, we had another head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left hand shoulder, this side being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder, right? So I can tell you now that a whole lot of traders and investors have bought, or rather are buying, in this zone, and that is because they see this pattern, which is the head and shoulders pattern, and the anticipation is that this particular pattern should come to an end around this zone over here, once it has broken this neckline as well, right? And we also know that when it comes to head and shoulders patterns, right, a lot of traders and investors actually wait for price to break the neckline and for it to come back to the neckline to retest it, and at this point is where they would look for possible, or rather for further buying opportunities, right? And that's what we will also do, that if price breaks this particular neckline and then comes back to it to retest it, we would look for buying opportunities at this point, and our take profit zone would be this level over here, which is where the head and shoulders pattern would come to completion, in my humble opinion, right? So yeah, so what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to, right? So as much as we have this head and shoulders pattern, we also need to be careful, because we also have an opposing M structure in this area, with the neckline being at the zone over here. Price broke the neckline to the bottom and then went up to retest it, and this is where we would have looked for selling opportunities, and this is where we saw price rather coming further down. And in my humble opinion, the structure should end at around this zone over here, in line with this level over here, right? So in my humble opinion, it's a bit tricky in as far as buying is concerned at this point in time, because as I said, a lot of people are buying because they are seeing this head and shoulders pattern, right, with this being the right hand shoulder. So myself, I will not be buying, because what may actually happen is that, as I said, due to this M structure, right, and this head and shoulders pattern, right, price, because people are buying at this point because of this inverted head and shoulders pattern, may actually push up to this point to just retest this neckline again, because it's a very strong level of resistance, and from here price may push further down to just below this area over here, and that is because there are a whole lot of stop losses rather that are located just below that head and shoulders pattern, and from there price may possibly push further up or push further down to actually break that flag that we spoke about, right? So that's my analysis really, guys, at this point in time, in as far as the crash boom 1000 index is concerned. At this point in time, I would not be buying or selling, because as I said, I believe that it is quite risky to do so. um, I think the best thing to do, given that we have this pattern over here, right, as well as this M structure over here with the neckline being over here. I think the best thing to do really is, in my humble opinion, to wait for price to at least get to this point, right? And at this point, start looking for possible selling opportunities at the zone, right? Start looking for possible selling opportunities, right? And if an opportunity presents at the zone, I would sell, and my take profit zone, my first take profit zone would be over here at this level, right? However, should price close above this level over here to the upside, I would wait for it to come back to retest the zone again, because it would now be a very strong area of support. And at this point, I would then look for possible buying opportunities, and my take profit zone would be this level over here, which is where the head and shoulders pattern should end, in my humble opinion, right? So that is it, guys, in as far as my analysis goes for this particular instrument. Peace out.